So this month's presentation is how to stay on a budget for Christmas. I always like this topic because I think when it comes to holidays, for shopping, for loved ones, birthday, I don't care what it is, I think we tend to get into the mode of we need to spend enough so they don't feel like we're cheap. And if we're living on a tight budget, that's the last thing we need to be doing is overspending. So, so I put together the whole presentation based on things that we can do for the holidays that will help us keep on budget. Because the fact of the matter is that if we overextend ourselves, if we allow the stress to get to us, the holidays aren't going to be anywhere near as fun as they should be, right? And holidays really are supposed to be about friends and family and love. They're not supposed to be about stress or how can we outshop someone else or how do we not look cheap. So the first thing, and I looked at a ton of information out there online, and the number one thing on everybody's list if you're trying to stay on budget for Christmas is set a spending limit. The actual accepted spending limit is 0.5% of our annual income. So to put that into context, if we make $50,000 a year, that's $250 is our Christmas spending limit. $25,000 a year would be $125, and most people spend 3, 4, 5 times that much on Christmas. So staying on a budget is one thing that we can take a look at that is really going to help us de-stress for the holidays. Make a list. The second thing you should do is make a list of everyone that you want to give gifts to. Whether it's kids, grandkids, sisters, brothers, friends, people you work with, no matter who it is, if you would like to gift them for the holidays, put them on the list. And then you want to take your budget and you want to divide up your budget according to who is on your list. So that's where some of the compromises start to come in, is you have a list of 25 people. You have $100 that's your budget or $200 that's your budget, and you're finding yourself where you're only able to spend $5 or $10 per person. Now you're all stressed out because you don't have any idea how you're going to stay on budget with all of those gifts to give. So we have some ideas coming up on how you can work with that. The third thing you should do is to write down gift ideas next to next to everyone on the list. So if you have a daughter on there, write down things that you think she might like, things that she has said that she would like, things that you think would suit her well, so that you have an idea of what you're going to be shopping for. It also will give you a chance, if your daughter is really into jewelry, and I have an idea coming up for that, and you have a budget set that you're only going to be able to spend $15, now you know that you want to find something for her that's inside your budget, so you know exactly what you're shopping for. It helps shopping be easier and a whole lot less stressful for you. Doing your shopping well in advance of Christmas is always a great thing, and I'm a great testimony for this. If I do my Christmas shopping, and I tend to start it right after Christmas, the last year when the great sales are on, and I already know what I want to get them, or I'm starting a collection of something for someone, then I can add to it, and I know the gift will be good in a year. But if you do your Christmas shopping throughout the year, you find things that are at a great price, they're on sale, that absolutely fits perfectly, and then you're not coming down to the wire. If you wait until the last minute to do your Christmas shopping, if you're anything like me, you go to a store, you start taking things off the shelf, just to get the person off the list. And you end up giving things that you wouldn't normally have given had you put a little bit of more thought into it. You're laughing. That's true, isn't it? It is absolutely true. Plus, you know, my husband and I used to, years ago, we used to go to the mall, because I don't like the mall any time of year, much less at Christmas. We used to go one night a week, and we would only be there for about an hour, because that's about when the stress started to set in. So we would go and we would get 1 or 2 gifts off the list, we would go home and we would go back the next week. It kept us from getting all stressed out and just saying, find something so we can get out of here, kind of deal. And that's something we want to avoid at Christmas time. You also can shop online. If you see something that you really like in a store, and you're savvy with going online, you can shop online and you can try to find the same thing for less. I've gotten really, really big on this just in the last month or two. I've done everything from the ink for my printer to copy paper to the vitamins, and I have found them half price or less online, and I've been able to do shopping. So things that I need anyway, if I can save money on it, it loosens up money in my budget for something else. So you can do that. You can shop on eBay, you can shop on Amazon, you can do all of those kinds of things, and lots of them offer free shipping. So it might be a great way to be able to keep your budget under control and still get the gifts that you want to give. I have some ideas for spending less on Christmas, and I really like these ideas. Suggest to family members to draw names instead of buying gifts for each one of them, especially if we get into kids and grandkids. If you start drawing names between the kids and drawing names between the grandkids, then it isn't as much of a financial burden as it is trying to buy gifts for absolutely everybody on your list. Keep in mind that lots of us are on a budget, so if you suggest that to your friends, a circle of friends, your card playing buddies, your family, you might find that everybody goes, yeah, that's a great idea, because they don't need the burden of the financial buying gifts for everybody either. Or suggest to friends that you forego gifts this year. If I have people in my circle of friends or family that really want to buy something for me and I know they're on a very, very tight budget, the first thing I say to them is, let's skip Christmas gifts this year. Let's instead get together. Let's have coffee somewhere. If you want to bake me, we can exchange cookies. And that is a very loving thing to do for people. You know, you can tell someone, you know, you don't have to buy me a gift. I'm going to get you something, but you don't have to buy me something. We're going to get something from them because we tend to feel like we have to. And that isn't what Christmas is supposed to be about. So if we can alleviate some of that stress from someone that we care a lot about, it also saves on our budget and it saves on theirs. And it goes the same way. If I'm on a really tight budget and I have a friend that likes to spend on me who isn't, I will do the same thing, except that I'm pretty forthright. So I'll say, you know what, the budget's really tight this year. I really would prefer we not exchange gifts. And most of the, once I had that not go over well at all, most of the time that goes over very well and they appreciate that. And it's a great way to show people how much we care. Make cookies. Put them in a Christmas tin or a box and give them all to your friends and families. My monster cookies, which are Wapaka County famous, I'm telling you. They're really expensive cookies to make, but if I make a bunch of cookies and give them away to friends and family, it's still a whole lot less expensive than if I were to go out and give them a gift. Because you don't have to give 5 dozen cookies to each person. You know, if they're monster cookies and I make 2 really big ones and it's a 2-person family, because Christmas is about showing you that I care enough to think about you and that I love you. And that gives the message. We don't have to overgive. Use your skills and create gifts for those you love. Cheap picture frames with a message. We did this for the grandkids one year. We bought really the cheapest picture frames we could find. We bought one of those paint pens. I took pictures that I had already taken of the grandkids, and we went to Walgreens or wherever, and we had them printed out, and then we wrote messages on the picture frames. Very personal, a ton of love, a ton of thought put into it, and about $2.50 each. And I had the grandkids taken care of. They love the pictures. Every single one of them has told me that they are in their bedroom or hanging on the wall where they can look at them and enjoy them. So again, it isn't about the money. You also can use your skills. You know, if you're a knitter, if you're a crocheter, if you're a painter, if you're a writer, use your skills and create gifts for people. I put make massage oil for your friends. I use essential oils. They're great for my dogs and my horses and me. But buying an oil base, something like coconut oil or argan oil that's really good for your skin, put some essential oil in there. It's a very inexpensive way to give a gift, and you can give someone some massage oil. And the oils also are great for using instead of lotions. So it's less expensive, you don't have all of the chemicals in there, and you put a pretty little bow or a ribbon on there, and you've got a great gift for not a whole lot of money. Make some potpourris, divide one of your plants, and put it in one of those really cheap plastic, you can get them for $1 pots, and then take magic markers or some paint and draw a picture on the side, or put a little message, you know, I love you, or I thought of you, or whatever. Makes a great gift, costs next to nothing. For housekeeping, to a friend or family that could use a little bit of help, that's a really wonderful gift. I'm up for that, by the way, if anybody wants to give me a Christmas gift, you can come over and clean.
Me too.
Me too.
Offer to babysit. A day night, if you've got kids who have young kids, they don't have a lot of time or energy or money lots of times to be able to have some time alone. So offer them the chance to take the grandkids overnight and give them the opportunity to be able to go out on a date night. Wonderful gift to give, costs you next to nothing because you're feeding your grandkids homemade cookies anyway. You can re-gift. I have given books that I knew friends of mine really wanted or really wanted to borrow, and I have a hard time giving away my favorite books because you're always afraid you're not going to get them back, but it makes a great gift because it's something that they wanted, and it came from your own collection and it came from your heart. Again, it didn't cost you anything. Instead of buying wrapping paper, get your groceries in the paper bags and cut them up. Make your own wrapping paper, buy a box of crayons, you can draw pictures on there, that way you don't have to put ribbons or bows on there, you don't have to put name tags on there. My brother Scott used to use the comics out of the Sunday paper. That was his wrapping paper every single year. Fabulous idea, because while you're waiting to open the gift, you have to read the comics. You know, it's just a wonderful thing. If someone likes jewelry, then you can go online. I actually was on eBay the other night and I found I love this ring. It's sterling silver with a purple turquoise in it. Absolutely gorgeous. Free shipping, $9.99. So it's, again, if you take a look around and if you use a little bit of time to do some investigating, you can find some really great gifts, even for those people that like nice jewelry. You can find something for them in your budget. So I went on to say, if you're having Christmas at your house, because some of us do you guys do Christmas at your house, big get-togethers? They can be really expensive. Those meals are between the turkey and everything you need for the dressings and all of the desserts and everything can be very expensive. We all know that. So provide the main dish, and then when you invite everybody to come over, say bring your favorite Christmas dish. And it makes it kind of a smorgasbord, takes a lot of the pressure for the finances off you, and then everybody else gets to show off, because I bring monster cookies. Everybody else gets to show off what their favorite dishes are. So it's a great way to make it not only financially easier on you, but it also gets everybody involved and they're having a good time. And if you feel bad for doing that, remember that if people start thinking about having holidays at their house, one of the first things they think of is, this is really expensive meal. So everybody is well aware of that, and most people want to chip in anyway. Because you'll hear people say, what can I bring? Don't say nothing. Ask them to bring something. And instead of buying soda, make punch. It's less expensive. It's healthier, looks more festive. I mean, there's all kinds of those little ideas that you can use. You can decorate on a budget. If you're one of these people that always gets a real tree, get a Charlie Brown tree. Better yet, call Joni and say, hey, can I have an ugly pine tree from your farm? And you can get it for free. We could use to get rid of a few. But if you do a Charlie Brown tree, they're a whole lot more fun to decorate. And they're less expensive to decorate because you don't go through all of the fancy stuff with the lights and all of the fancy bows and stuff. We did this, one of my favorite Christmas trees ever is we did this 12-foot tall, it literally, the base of it was about this big around. It was the ugliest thing in the world. We have really tall ceilings, so it went very well. I could dug out all my Christmas bows and I'd held on to all of these little silly cheap bows that were red and gold, like a gold lame and then a red crushed velvet. And I decorated from top to bottom. I decorated that entire tree with those bows. One of my favorite Christmas trees. Very simple, very pretty, and everybody who saw it said, I love the way this thing looks. So if fancy is not necessarily the best way to do it, sometimes doing it very simply is just as beautiful or even more so. Decorate your trees with sugar cookies. I used to do this with the young kids. I would make these sugar cookies and I'd make them thicker, like twice as thick as they should be, and I would over bake them so they were rock hard. They're not edible, you could eat them, but that wasn't the point. But I'd make these big sugar cookies. Before I baked them, I put a hole in them. We hung them all on the tree. And then after Christmas dinner, everybody got to take one of these ornaments, one of these cookies off the tree. They walked outside, they made a wish, and they broke the cookie. It was a fabulous way of sharing something with the family, and the kids absolutely loved the idea. Again, unless you have cats and dogs that are going to eat them, it's a great way to decorate the tree. Have your grandkids, I did this with the grandkids too one time. We had them over for the weekend. We went out in the woods. We gathered together a bunch of pine cones and twigs and leaves. They got to get whatever they wanted, and they made us homemade Christmas tree ornaments out of that. They made a set that was their gift to their parents, and then they made a set and that was a Christmas gift to us. So all it cost them was time, and then I provided the glue and I provided some glitter, and they spent an afternoon. They will never forget it. They still ask about them, and I will have them forever. So we just have to use a little bit of ingenuity and creativity when we go about these things. And then I put on here, you know, to give us all some great ideas of what we can do and how we can do this on a budget. I decided to make a list of some of my favorite Christmas gifts all time. My brother Scott made us one year homemade bread, and he did braided, so it was red, white, and green. And then he went out and he purchased a Christmas towel and he wrapped them up, and that was our Christmas present. It was inside his budget. He was on a very tight budget at the time. I will have that Christmas towel for the rest of my life, and I don't have my brother anymore. So knowing that he did that makes that gift even more special. When I was young and just out on my own, and we all have friends and family who are that way, my Christmas and my birthday are within a few days of each other. And my mom said, what do you want? And I said, Mom, I really need a toaster. So for Christmas, I got a toaster, and for my birthday, I got a box of food. One of the best gifts I've ever gotten. And it's the kind of thing, if I tell my husband, why don't we get them something they really need, like food? He's like, no, we can't do that. That's not what you're supposed to do for Christmas. Really? That was one of my favorite gifts, because it was money that I didn't have to spend, and now I could make toast. I don't have the toaster anymore, but I have the memory. Those were great gifts. An embroidered pillow. My friend Penny, who didn't do a whole lot of embroidering, one year for Christmas, embroidered some birds on a pillow for me and gave it to me. And that's been, I was in my 20s, so that's been 25 plus years ago. I still have it. I don't have Penny anymore either, but I do still have that gift. And those are things that if we just go somewhere and do some shopping without putting a lot of thought or love into it, those aren't the kind of gifts that we're giving. The ones that you hold on to forever are the ones that just have a whole ton of love attached to them. My sister and I happened to be in a Walmart or Kmart or Target or something 25 years ago, and we were walking past, we were looking at all the puzzles, and I looked at this puzzle, and it was a picture of this little dilapidated one-room cabin on the top of a rock cliff, way out in the middle of nowhere. And I looked at the picture, and I said, that's my dream house. She went back, she bought the puzzle, put it together, put it on a piece of stiff cardboard, glued it. So the entire gift cost her probably less than $10, and I'll have a picture I'll have for the rest of my life. I mean, just that she listened to me and did that for me was far more than, worth far more than the $10 that she spent. And my grandma used to do a lot of quilting, and and we all know people who sew, and she would hang on to all of these quilt scraps. And one year I got a satin bedspread from her. Again, it's something that I'll never get rid of. Didn't cost her a whole lot of money, just cost her some time. So you want to start thinking about those kinds of ideas, because really, truly, and this wraps it up, the most important thing to remember is that giving gifts is about showing your love, not about showing how much you have in your pocketbook. So we should never be afraid of not spending a whole lot of money, because the people who we love that love us could care less if we spent any money on them or not. So we just want to share a piece of our heart. Love isn't expensive. It comes from the heart. Does anybody have any questions?
I have a friend who sets,
Don't.
I have a friend who sets her budget and she gets it in cash, and when that cash is gone, her Christmas shopping is done, to stay within the budget.
That's an excellent idea. If once you've decided what your budget is, if you do something like get cash, and you know that you will not go back to the cash machine because you just need $10 more, it's a fabulous idea. I like setting budgets for Christmas because it's really easy to take out the charge cards. And if we take out the charge cards, we're still paying those off next year at Christmas time. And then we're just going further and further in the hole.
Well, and then, she knows too, she has her list and she knows who if she's gonna make things, that she uses this for her, supplies or whatever. And so some people get purchased items and some people get, and I just thought, what a fabulous idea to stay on track, but I don't do that.
There's lots of people, I have the conversation about debit cards too all the time when it comes to budgeting. And debit cards are not, I don't like the idea of them because it's really easy to pick up that other $1 item. It's easy to get off budget. If you have an envelope that's your Christmas shopping or that's your gift giving or whatever, and you can stick to that, that's a great idea, actually.
Yeah, it's real easy to get out your debit card or credit card and think, well, I'll just pick this up because I really, really like this, but then you're off on somebody else, and so then you use your credit card again.
Yep, and then the next, well, and if you get it on sale and you pay with a credit card, you did get it on sale anyway, because chances are, with the interest that's going to go up over the next year, and that was one of the suggestions that I saw, was if you spent a ton of money last year, just say no gifts this year. Just tell everybody I'm not doing any gifts. I like to do things, but I do them very, very inexpensively. And I do flea marketing and garage sailing, and I get a lot of my Christmas gifts that way too.
Absolutely.
And it keeps me out of the stores. It keeps, especially when it comes to grandkids or people and we all know someone who wants to know how much we spent on a gift, so they'll go to the store. So for those people on my list, they never get anything that came out of a store. Never. I'll go flea marketing, I'll go rummage sailing, I'll find them the perfect gift, but they cannot go see how much I spent. They can't, because they'll never find it in a store. I made that mistake once, I'll never do it again, because I heard how much I spent. And she didn't think I spent enough. And I thought I spent plenty, so that was the last time that happened.
No kidding.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they don't deserve a Christmas present then.
Well, you know,
Yeah.
there's that. But it really, I bought actually, the following year, I got her a great gift. She's a Coca-Cola collector. So I got her a vintage syrup Coke bottle that's about 5 gallons. Got it at a flea market for $2, and that was her gift. And it wasn't about the money, it was about finding something for her collection. So I did a whole lot better by staying out of the stores than I ever did by going into them.